You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Coming up at the start of the next segment, I'm going to break something down that I think is really central and really important. And I'm going to give Steve Quayle's take on it. Right now, let's continue with your calls. Let's talk to Steve in Ohio. Thanks for holding, Steve. You're on the air worldwide.
Hey, hello, Alex. How's it going? Good,
brother.
Hey, as far as my take on what the globalist agenda is, I would go as far as to say that, you know, they are going to attack the Tea Party members, but also true patriots like me, yourself, veterans, and oath keepers alike. And if that doesn't work, then I believe that they'll go to collapsing the economy on purpose due to the fact that you can't feed your family, you can do whatever you can to feed your family. That includes going with their agenda, doing whatever they want you to do.
I think that's a great point. Steve Quayle, your take on that. Thank you, Steve.
Well, I think he's really right, and I think the thing that most people don't realize, Alex, you and I did a whole show, I think the last show we did on the Deagle Report, the way you take out 200 million people, first of all, is you're going to take them out by starving them into the FEMA camps and then killing them once they get there.
And that's what Mao Zedong did, and David Rockefeller helped organize it, wrote an article for New York Times about it. He's very proud of the 80 million plus they killed. That's what Lenin and Stalin did. This is the globalist program.
Now, it started, Alex. That's the thing. Let me get to the food thing. If you just said, Steve, what's the most important thing you know at this minute, which you're basically asking me, is I have people in the food production business, the biggest food producers, emailing me, calling me, saying, we just got the biggest orders in the history of our company in MREs, bigger than anything that was put forth by the government, and they're all going, their words, not mine, into underground caves and bunkers. Then people are telling me that in some of like the areas of Pennsylvania and other areas of really key food production, bottom line is they're saying, Steve, we are seeing these purchase orders and they don't make sense. They're not going to any of our standard customers. Then we fast forward, Alex, and I'm getting reports from all over the country, but first and foremost from some of the areas that are closest to these bases, okay, 236, some people say 250 underground bases in the United States, that the food is being diverted from the warehouses that basically furnish or provide all the goods to their supermarkets. The biggest supermarket in Fargo, North Dakota is having empty shelves because that people are coming in and buying everything, they're just not getting anything. So I say this, the great starving to compliance is underway. It's one thing to see rioting. It's another thing to see, people upset philosophically, and rightly so. But the point is, when they don't eat, that's when they riot. And the goal of the Illuminists, the goal of the Illuminati, the goal of one of the highest-ranking Texas Illuminists I ever met, tried to convert him. I failed, meaning share Jesus with him. He said, I'm too far gone for that. I pledged my allegiance to the Prince of Darkness 20 years ago. But I will tell you how it's going to play out. That's a true story. I can tell you his name. The point being is it's starting to happen now. And this is you just ran through the historic litany of it. What happens when food disappears? Well, the next thing that when food disappears, nutrition gets hit. And that's why people should be buying every nutritional support product they can get. That's not a pitch. It's advice. Your calories are going to be cut. The nutritional goodness of what you used to be able to eat is going to be...
Well, I was about to say, I go to restaurants I've gone to for years, and now it's not real meat anymore, well, I mean, they admit meat prices are at all-time highs, other things are all-time highs. At the same time, energy prices are going down to bankrupt Russia. I want to talk about that with you straight ahead, Steve Quayle. And folks, I'm going to break something down really important when we come back, so please listen up and stay there. And we're also going to go to John in New York. We're going to go to Jerry in Georgia, Margaret in Oklahoma, Lori in California, Linda in New York, and others. Toll-free number, 800-259-9231. Live. We have a special rebroadcast with Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, and then William Binney, that incredible interview a month ago, where the former head of a major NSA department, number 4 in the overall organization, spilt his guts about the tyranny of the all-seeing panopticon system they're attempting to construct to control civilization and to set us upon the path to tyranny. There are the forces of good and evil in this world. I know everybody knows that, but there's not just evil operating. But if good people will not recognize that there are bad people trying to get full control, trying to set up a planetary government so there are no nations or peoples to block it, and that it is a worldwide unified program of bad will towards humanity for total control, we don't have a hope or a prayer. Conversely, if we can be played off against each other, we don't have a prayer. So when I get up here and sometimes give you worst-case scenarios, it's because I'm tuning into, from research, the wish list of the technocrats and what they'd like to do. I have read hundreds of books written by the technocrats. We've quoted them here. We've sourced them. We've sourced 3 or 4 or 5 or more today. We've shown the quotes on screen for TV viewers. We've plugged them for radio listeners, so you can go check it out for yourself. There are people, if you study the Jacobin French Revolution, that was the opposite of ours, an Illuminati revolution, I mean, that's in the history books, that wanted to change the work week to 9 days out of 10, wanted to change the calendar, abolish the family, and wanted to make basically devil worship the state religion, where they would be kings over a new hell world. These are crazy people, but they hunger for the power and the control. So when we get up here and break down what the globalists are doing and point out how bad it could get, it's because we're hoping to shake people out of their slumber. We're showing you a possible reality, a possible future, and one that's becoming more probable. Certainly, much of it is now unfolding. When we beat something, when you beat something, when we fight it together, then they say, oh, it never happened. But you notice a lot of it does end up happening. It is a mathematical fact that the economy will implode one way or another. It's designed to, and the globalists admit that. But they tell the public, oh, it's just the greatest GDP ever. Dow's up 18,000. Not telling you it's because fiat dollars are following it. Not telling you it's because it's full of derivatives. It's full of fraud. And they get the public to buy into the fraud, believing it'll shore up your pension fund. They're getting ready to start taking the private pension funds to, quote, shore up the stock market and get you to go along with it because, oh, well, that'll secure the fraud. But really it won't, because areas like Greece and Spain are a few years ahead of us. It was designed to impoverish you. Steve, I want to go back to calls and break down a lot. I want to get into all this, but what I'm trying to get at here is the enemy's greatest tool. I forget who said the devil's greatest trick was convincing the world he didn't exist. The globalist greatest trick is deny this stuff exists. Now they admit it exists, but say it's good. And then get people in a normalcy bias or mass Stockholm syndrome or learned helplessness to just not believe the magnitude of what's happening. And the reason I've been successful and you've been successful is that we're really showing people where this road leads. We've been so insulated in this country from 40-something million just in Europe being killed in World War II, 20-plus million Russians, 20-plus million Germans. We are so, I mean, most people are dead who lived in the Great Depression in this country that was easy compared to other nations, where upwards of 50 million people were homeless and where 7 million people, major universities believe, died of malnutrition in association with starvation. That was when 90% lived in rural areas, most of them self-sufficient. Now we're 90% urban. Less than half of those, 10%, or about 5, are self-sufficient. And then the great crime in the Homeland Security is being self-sufficient as government stockpiles food and weapons. Steve Quayle, I want to go back to calls, but getting into this.
Because you said something that's really critical. The people have got to understand that all the news right now, they're already being conditioned to accept the fact that, number one, robots are and the whole thing with singularity and robots and everything is designed to replace them, okay? I just have questions coming in on my email. Well, what does it mean about jobs in 2025? You'll be dead by 2025. No one's putting, maybe you've dealt with it, but no one's putting the linkage between all of the artificial intelligence, everything that's breaking on neuroscience, everything that's breaking on the Technology Minority Report. Guess what, people? That's exactly